Hi, welcome to Cheesy Dan Reviews. As always, I'm Cheesy Dan. This is the perfect place for the picky eater to pick their preferred piece of pizza. But today we're going to be doing something a little different. Instead of doing a pizza review, I'm actually going to be answering some of your questions. Having started this channel only a couple weeks ago, I do want to appreciate those subscribers that I've picked up to this point, and some of you have asked me some questions. Originally, I started this channel as something fun to do, something that I enjoy doing, and of course I love pizza, so why not make a channel reviewing it? To be honest, I'm not really a foodie. I'm not a food critic at all. I'm certainly no Gordon Ramsay, but I love cheese pizza, and I thought it would be an interesting topic because when I looked on YouTube, I noticed there wasn't a ton of pizza reviewers, and there certainly wasn't anyone as picky as me when it comes to eating, to where I have, chose to zone in on specifically cheese pizza. But as a result, I've had some questions asked, and I wanted to take a moment, make a video as an extra so that I could answer some of these questions and maybe help people understand better what the point of this channel is and why I do things the way I do them. One of the questions I was asked from GWS04P was, why just cheese pizza? Are you really that picky?
I should probably warn you, though, I'm an incredibly picky eater.
Yeah, I actually am. To be honest with you, I've been a picky eater ever since I was a kid. Anyone that has known me, worked with me, family, friends, people that have known me will tell you I am a very picky eater.
I eat like a child.
I have a very limited amount of things that I eat, and it's not a religious thing. It's not, a personal opinion. It's just I have very picky taste, and I've just been that way since I can remember. When it comes to pizza, it is my #1 favorite food.
I love pizza.
But my specific only choice is cheese pizza. I don't care for the toppings. When I was a kid, I remember someone would order a pepperoni pizza and they'd say, just pick the pepperoni off.
You disgust me.
And I'd look at them kind of crazy. Like, you do realize that if you take the pepperoni off, the pepperoni juice is still there. It still tastes like pepperoni. If I don't like the taste of pepperoni, I'm probably not going to want to taste pepperoni. But again, nobody seemed to understand that very much. But yeah, I am very much a picky eater. And that's, I think, what kind of makes this channel a little bit unique. Obviously, the fact is you can add toppings to any pizza. If a cheese pizza is good, then guess what? Chances are their toppings are going to be good too. So if I can judge the cheese pizza and the cheese pizza is worth your time and it's worth your dough, chances are if you add toppings, it's not going to get worse from there.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So I figured it's a good basis to start from. But, when it comes to pizza, yes, I do only eat cheese pizza. And, people laugh at that and they'll say, man, nobody wants just cheese pizza. But think about it. When you go to a birthday party, when you go to a work event, when there's a cheese pizza, I promise you, it's the first pizza to go.
And that's the truth.
So, why just cheese pizza? Am I really that picky? Yeah, I really am. Just cheese pizza because that's all I want. And that's all I've ever wanted. But thanks for asking. All right, another question I was asked from @PastorWin. Hey Dan, what's the deal with the day 3 test in your cheesy score? Doesn't letting the pizza sit that long mess with the overall rating and thus skew the total score? I would say the day 3 score has been one that people have kind of not really totally understood. Some people really appreciate it, other people not so much. But I'll be honest with you, I love pizza.
And I love pizza.
I love it fresh, and I love it as a leftover. And if you're like me, chances are you actually choose to order enough pizza with the intention of having leftovers so that you can eat them on the next day, maybe for lunch, eat them later for dinner, or maybe even 2 days later you plan to bring it to work. So if you're like me, that's a common thing. I love ordering enough to have leftovers. And if the pizza doesn't taste good on day 3, that's going to affect my choice on whether I want to order or not. For example, one of the pizzas that I have known that is not always so good on a following day, to me it's Marco's. I know Marco's on day 1 is awesome. It is a pizza that it tends to lose itself pretty quickly. People would say that's because they use the freshest ingredients. I'm not a spokesman for Marco's, so I'm not going to answer that. But what I do know is they're not as good once they get to day 3. So I know on a pizza like that, I need to eat the bulk of it on day 1 and at most go into day 2. So I've got to keep that in mind when I'm ordering a pizza from Marco's. Whereas Papa John's, their pizzas tend to keep longer. So I know with a Papa John's pizza, I can eat those up to day 3, day 4, pushing even day 5 if it's been well refrigerated. So that does have an effect to me on the total value and its desirability, and the fact that is it good on the 3rd day. Again, maybe that's not something that matters to you, and that's perfectly fine, but I hope that's something you can see has value and it stands out amongst the YouTube review crowd. Another question I was asked was at Matt Redmond 94. He said, "Why don't you eat at the restaurant when they have a seating area?" That's a great question. I appreciate you asking. Not every place I eat, obviously, or every pizza I eat is from a sit-down restaurant, but there will be pizzas I eat from sit-down restaurants.
Good question.
Simply put, my goal in this review is to review the pizza itself. I don't want to skew the results of the pizza based on the service. Whether the atmosphere was too loud or crowded, it took too long to get seated, the hostess or the waitress or the waiter had a bad day or a bad attitude.
So you had a bad day.
I just don't want that to skew the results, because ultimately it's not about the experience, it's about the pizza.
Just give me a little bit more pizza.
So for me, I've chosen in my reviews not to include the sit-down experience, simply because to me that's a different review. You can review the experience of eating at the restaurant in addition to reviewing the food, but I'm just here for the pizza, to be honest with you. So for me, I've chosen just to leave the experience of the restaurant out and just stick to the pizza. But thanks for the question. All right, another question comes from @TaylorBaker2056. She said, "It seems like you are too nice when it comes to scores and reviews." I can say this, first of all, this is new to me. I've not made a history of reviewing the pizzas. I just knew what I liked and what I didn't. So starting a review channel and going through and developing a score system, and then, giving each pizza a score based on their day 1 taste, their appearance, the truth is it is completely subjective. It is based on my personal taste, what I like, and what seems right to me. And the more pizza I review, I probably will find myself getting a little bit tougher in my grading, just because I've had so much more to review and more experience.
And the more you've seen, the more you know what to do.
But at the same time, my goal is not to be a guy coming in just to burn a restaurant, or just to, find a pizza that I can just blow it out of the water to get reviews or get good views or people commenting.
Just pizza man.
That's just not me. If a pizza has redeeming quality, I'm going to be fair to it. If it doesn't, I'm going to be honest with you. There's going to be pizzas that you're going to get a really low score because just honestly, it wasn't good. But at the same time, I'm not Gordon Ramsay, as I mentioned. I'm not trying to yell and scream and carry on and make a big deal and purposely, talk bad about a pizza just to get views and to get clicks.
I mean, it's just the truth.
I'm here just to tell you whether that pizza is worth your dough. I'm trying to keep my position simple. I'm Cheesy Dan. I'm a simple guy. I'm not a foodie. I just want you to see, is this pizza worth your dough? Is it worth your time? Is it a good pizza? And is it something worth investing your time with your family with? Now, while I don't have this question in my Facebook comments, I was asked this a few times in person. The biggest question was, aren't you going to run out of cheese pizza to review if that's all you're reviewing?
Not a chance.
And the answer to that is actually no. When you think about it, it may seem silly. You're thinking, no, they're going to run out of cheese pizza. But think about this for a moment. Even when you consider Little Caesars just one pizza place on its own, they have their classic cheese, extra most best cheese. They have their thin crust cheese.
Lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp.
And they have their thick crust cheese. And then that's not even including the addition of, you can get thick crust with the stuffed crust.
Shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad.
You can get their thin crust round with stuffed crust. Then they also have their cheesy bread.
Shrimp and potatoes.
There really is a ton of different things to review just in this one place. Then you take into account the fact that you've got a lot of mom and pop style restaurants. You also have the fact that I can travel. I can go to other towns where they have pizza places. You know, in the town I live, there's a lot of individual small pizza places that are still left to review, but that leaves out the aspect of even traveling a little bit further than that to go to some places in my area. So I really don't think I'm anticipating running out of cheese pizza to review anytime soon. So, hey, stick around. There's a lot left to come. Another one that I don't have a comment for, but I was asked on multiple occasions is, you know, why did one pizza rate so much higher than they felt it should have? For example, my very first pizza I reviewed, the Red Baron Cheese Trio. To be honest with you, that was a great pizza. I really enjoyed that pizza. As far as a home-baked pizza, it was really better than I expected it to be. But the question comes is, how does that one score so high and get even closer to, say, you know, a Papa John's pizza? They think, you know, that doesn't seem right.
Because I said so, that's why.
Well, keep in mind, when I add in the value score and I add in the day 3 test, that is going to have an effect on how a pizza finally scores. In addition to the fact that, you know, when I'm looking at a pizza to taste it, I'm expecting a home-baked pizza to not live up to the level of a restaurant pizza or a fast food pizza. So when it does better than what's expected for an at-home pizza, then it's going to score better. Whereas you could go to a Papa John's and get a less than ideal experience and it could score worse than it should have because you have a certain expectation of that fast food pizza. So that's why you're going to find times where you're going to see a pizza maybe score higher than you thought it would, you know, especially when you compare it to, say, a similar, you know, fast food restaurant pizza or a sit-down restaurant pizza. But there is, as they say, a curve when you're grading.
You grade on a curve, I'm happy.
And, you know, I try to keep that in mind when I'm doing my reviews on the pizza. Maybe it's not always the score you think it should have, and that's fine. That's what the comment section is for you to go in there and say what you thought about that pizza yourself. Go give it a taste. You know, I've had a few people that have told me my channel's made it a little difficult on them because now they're getting pizza more often than they used to.
You really got to stop blaming yourself for what happened.
And they've tried some of the pizzas I've recommended already, and I appreciate that. If you have, man, put it in the comments. Let me know. I appreciate hearing those kind of stories, even if it's funny. You know, hearing the fact that you had to go out and get a pizza tonight because your family watched it. Hey, that tells me that it's working. So, you know, if you see a score that you don't quite agree with, hey, that's okay. These scores are mine. That's the reason they're called the cheesy score, because it's my personal opinion and everybody's got their own, and that's great. But I do appreciate the views. I love the comments. I love seeing the thumbs up and people participating and helping this channel grow. So I hope you're going to stick with me. I hope you're going to tell your friends about this channel, like, subscribe, share it with others, let people know about the Cheesy Dan score, and let's see where this channel grows. Maybe 2025 we'll see ourselves hit 100 subscribers. You know, I'd love to have 100 subscribers by the end of this year and have an opportunity to see one of my videos hit 1,000 views. That would be amazing. So, you know, I look forward to seeing your comments. I am paying attention, and I hope you notice that, even if it seems like maybe I don't respond quite, changes in the video as quick as you might expect.
I'm watching you, Wazowski.
But hey, keep watching. I think you're going to see some changes, and you'll see me as I try to grow the channel, get better at my editing, and get better at what I do. So I do appreciate you joining me on this journey. And man, I hope you enjoy your next pizza, because until we eat again, stay cheesy.